So we're going to start out in Revit. We're going to do a very basic. We're going to start out with a new file. We're going to project. There's different ones. There's imperial, which is our inches, and then there's metric. And you've got for construction, architectural, and structural. I'm going to do inches in architectural, my new project. Say OK. You'll notice you have a set of drop-down or tabs or toolbar menus, and you have a different set of tools that you can use. On the left, you kind of have this feature manager like you would see in Inventor or SolidWorks, which is going to have a lot of your tools that go with your toolbar icons. And you have things in your project browser where you can easily see your floor plans and your elevations by clicking on the option. You got your scale at the bottom, so right now everything's looking at an 1/8" scale. You have your zoom window options here at the side, then the 4 elevation markers. So again, I said stay kind of inside of that so your elevations look good. Now, I was going to use the model line to start my creation, just so I can kind of start laying it out. If you've already got it drawn on, let's just say, graph paper, you have it already to a scale, you kind of got all your square footage figured out, then you can probably easily just transfer over by using the architecture wall tool. I did not do that in this case because I wanted to see, how hard it would be to go from a model line back to a wall line so that I can use it in all of my different views and keep me kind of in place. So we're going to do roughly 2,000 square foot house. So I've kind of estimated, I do a model that my first part would be my depth. I'm going to do about a 32 depth. I'm going to go 44 feet long. Then I want to come back roughly 20 by 16. Then I'm going to come back forward. And I'm going to add a garage over here on the end. Then I want to come back down to the front, and that's going to be my rough layout. So I have roughly probably 2,000 square feet in this area. Your garage square footage is separate. So when you're figuring square footage, you figure the heated and cooled areas of your house by themselves, then you figure the garage that's not heated or cooled by itself. So when you're thinking of 2,000 square feet, that is not including your garage. I'm roughly saying I need about 2,000 square feet for all of your living spaces, your sleeping spaces, and your surface areas. So kitchen, 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, laundry room, great room, dining room, or eat-in nook, however you want to do that. That's all up to you on how you want to lay that out and what you think your exterior design will look like. So always keep in mind as you're planning your floor plan, what is this going to look like? So I'm making mine kind of boxy. So if you've ever seen a straight up ranch house, or if you go back through that really early on chapter where it talks about exterior styles, straight down the front, that's all I got. And my roof's going to go up and back. So it's just going to be gables on the end, very simple. It's a simple construction. It's usually cheaper because you don't have as many jogs in your foundation. Even though I stuck this big room on the back, I may not keep that when I get finished with this. So that's my rough sketch, and I can go in, add more lines, more model lines to say, okay, that divides my living room. I'm going to have an entry from my garage, but that also is going to be like a hallway across on this bedroom side. And I'm going to have a closet like there. It comes in from my garage. I want a hallway coming in from my garage. And you see how the dimensions are pulling up really easy for you, which is awesome because then you can take those measurements. You can start visualizing the space that you're planning here. I don't need a line there. So this might be my bedroom, so I may put a bathroom in. I may do a separate closet. And so forth. But just giving you some ideas, we're just putting in the lines. This line actually probably doesn't have to be there. So I can take that and delete it. So when you start looking at your modifying, if I pick on something I want to get rid of, that's my delete, the X. So trying to kind of learn some of these as we go. This is regular, move, and copy, rotate. And you'll notice it comes up and shows you what they are, offset, align. So those all look the same as they did in AutoCAD. Array looks the same, scale looks the same. Your trims look totally different, and they're going to function slightly different. You got trim and extend on a corner because you can easily trim and extend walls. And then you got trim and extend single elements. So in this case, if I decided I wanted to trim something here, like this line, then I could use that trim tool. Okay, so I'm going to draw a little bit more, but not be showing you what I'm drawing, and then we're going to do some transfer to some walls. So I've kind of finished my layout. I have a lot of open spaces that may not work out quite as well as I had planned. Again, another great reason to get a good sketch going on paper and work out some of those issues beforehand, especially in Revit. You know, Revit's forgiving to an extent, but you know, AutoCAD is a lot more forgiving because you can trim this, you can move that, you can erase that. I just find that sometimes it's so much faster to create a set of drawings in AutoCAD, even though I know everything's moving to the 3D modeling world and architectural is not any different. We have several local firms here in Western Kentucky, and they use Revit. They have clients that want the Revit. They have their own libraries of their own specialized components. They do a lot of the electrical. Again, the MEP part of it, where you're putting all these plans together and they can all merge into that one construction document set. So it's a good idea to learn Revit, and hopefully we'll get you some good basics going here. And if you can ever pick up a book that has some guides, or you know, there's tons of YouTube videos out there, and Autodesk has some training videos as well for you. So again, I'm not thrilled with my little square house or rectangular house with the one or two little areas sticking out. But what I wanted to be able to do is now say, okay, this is kind of what I want, so let's look at some of the tools. So we want to be able to draw our walls. So what I did is just do a rough outline. So this is kind of the exterior of my wall. So if you do this, what you need to pay attention to before you create your walls is, one, what type of wall, and two, where are you measuring from? And that's called this location line here at the top. Since I just said I'm doing exterior, then I'm going to go and say I'm on the finished face exterior when I pick my points. That way I can tell which side my wall is going to be on. And since I was very adamant to do 32 feet, I do not want to be any wider than 32 feet. So by doing this, I just want to do exterior. Unconnected here, level 1, of course, we're doing the first floor plan, level 1. Base offset. So I will show you that when I do the garage, because usually your floor is higher than your garage unless you're doing a slab on grade. So that's one reason that you kind of want to make some of those decisions. So jot yourself down some notes on a notepad on what you think you want to do here so that you can get some of this information filled out correctly. I am going to do unconnected, but I'm not going to do 20 feet. I think I'll just do 9-foot ceilings and do an application there. But what type of wall? So there's a down arrow here, and here's some of the families. We talk about families, different things that are already created to use. Am I doing brick on metal stud, brick on CMU? They don't really have great options here. What I have done in the past is take this exterior EIFS system, which is like a stucco finish system on it, on a metal stud. Well, no, I'm not using a metal stud, but the size of it is typically pretty good. But you can also do generic. The reason you like the ones at the top is because when you do an elevation, you see some of those features. If you change here at the bottom, your detail level. So right now we're in coarse, which in a floor plan, that's great, but in elevation, you might want to see finer detail. And you can see what kind of hatching, since we don't have to hatch anything, they've got the materials already hatched on these 3D pieces. So You know, I could just as easily say I'm going to do generic 5, generic 6, and then if you keep scrolling, you'll see we also have interior partition walls. You have firewalls, so like my garage wall, just to give you an idea, is going to be that firewall. So I'm going to go back up. I'm going to pick exterior. And another thing to note, I think I added this in some of my text materials in Blackboard just to keep in mind, to focus on this. You're drawing a foundation if you're also enrolled in construction techniques class. The exterior wall, so the outside edge of your stud, is always going to be aligned to the foundation exterior edge. So the way this is drawing, it's showing you, if I can show you the, let's see if I can, you can't really see it, but there's all these multiple lines. So this is the inside, there's the exterior stud, there's an airspace, and then there's the exterior finished material. So this line that my arrow is on right now, hopefully you can watch me move that arrow back and forth across that line, that's actually going to line up to your foundation wall. So if you were going to do a foundation plan in Revit, you would have to know where that line is. All right, so I'm going to start drawing my walls now. I'm going to start here, exterior wall, so you can see which side is it creating the thickness. You can see that when I'm drawing. So I'm going to go across. I'm losing interior room space too. It's another thing, if you work with a client, most of the time they might give you something on graph paper. There's no accounting for wall thicknesses. So they start to lose, they say, oh, I want an 18 by 16 room. Well, when they finish, they have like a 17.8 by 15.8 or something. And so they're like, oh, I didn't know I was going to lose my room space. They don't realize that. So if you ever want to do freelance residential drawings for people, you might want to keep that in the back of your mind. You know, just let them know if you've got sketching ideas, or even in this case, you're sketching. You may have a plan that room's going to be this big, but it's probably not going to be once you get the walls in. Okay, sorry, let me keep going. I'm just going to go all around the perimeter because I'm drawing just exterior walls. Now, I want to use the same wall on my garage, but like I said before, your garage, if it's not a slab on grade, is usually lower than your floor. Maybe a couple of steps. So if I figured in, let's just say 3 steps, 21 inches lower. So I'm going to go back. I want to draw the same type of wall, but what I want to change here is this base offset, and I'm going to put in a negative 21 inches. So the wall right now is at level 1. The garage is going to physically be dropped down 21 inches, but still have a 9-foot ceiling height. So I'm going to apply, and I'm going to come over here and start drawing off my garage wall and enter. Now, just so you can see this, and you'll see it cleaned up all the little intersections. In AutoCAD, you got to trim all that stuff up, which stinks. But here, I'm going to go View, my 3D view, and you can see that. And it skipped my 9-foot, so I'm going to have to add that 21 inches. I forgot. I got to add the 21 inches to my 9-foot. So I'll go back and fix that, but essentially see how it's dropped it down. But my ceiling height should stay relatively in line with this unless you want the roof line to drop down tremendously on that place. So I would go in and I can do a Control key and select all the walls that I want to fix. So remember, Control key select allows you to pick multiple lines. So I'm going to add 1 foot 9 to this. So that makes it 10 feet 9 inches. There we go. Now they are the same height as the rest of the house. So your view cube, again, remember north was to the top of the screen. We're working in 3D, so if you've not really done a lot of 3D AutoCAD yet, top view is plan view. Or you can go back to level 1 over here, double click, and you're right back at that plan view, and your view cube disappears for now. Let's look now, let's add some interior walls. So I'm going to go back in. I want to go ahead and add that firewall between my garage. I'm going to do a 2-hour firewall and not wall center line. I'll do finish. I may have to flip this thing because it may not line up directly, but what I want is to go across here. Now I'm going to zoom in so you can see I didn't line it up very well. So what I can do is click on that wall if it's wrong, and you see you've got change direction of wall. Flips it over, nice and easy, done. And I forgot to pick if it was 9 feet or not, so I better make sure I look at that. Nope, up to next level. I'm going to do unconnected, go back to 9 feet, and apply. So sorry about that. Always check those first because you never know. All right, do the same thing now. I'm going to go in and kind of start filling in my rooms. So I got to figure out which rooms I really like. So see how different that is now from what I started? Drew the line on the outside. See how much space I just lost in my laundry? Well, this is supposed to be my laundry and that's supposed to be my bathroom. I lost like a foot almost there. So keep that in mind as you're, again, looking at what you've sketched. You may want to move these walls around a little bit to give you the right amount of space. Or you may, in this case, if I draw this over the length I really wanted it, which I do, I want a large enough dining room here and a large enough kitchen that I'm going to have to shift everything to the left. Go back into my wall. This time I don't need the 5-inch partition. This is an interior wall, so it's just a standard 3 1/8 partition or 4 7/8, depending on what size sheetrock you're using. So whichever one you decide to pick, go with that. I'm going to take it off of next level. I'm still going to do unconnected. I'm still going to do 9 feet, catching that first. Finish face interior. So now what I'm going to do is start trying to determine how far across here do I want that room to be. And that's when these dimensions pop up again. They're really nice when you start using them to give you an idea. So I know I want this one to be located. It's giving me a nice ugly line here. I want to go, since I have those lines drawn in, I'm going to go ahead and add an extra foot to that. There we go. I'm going to draw that line all the way up to here. And I'll just go ahead and, I want to be even, so I'm going to go ahead and come over and then up. Again, because I wanted these walls to line up. Now, you'll see when I zoom in, they are not lined up, so you may have to look at that occasionally. If they don't, you have a modifier tool, and you can select a line. Where'd it go here? Okay. Modify the wall and see the align tool. I can do an align with this wall and this wall, and see how it made that straight. So the interior of this wall and the interior of this wall are straight. Now my only problem is I'm not sure which one I made go which direction, so I have to pay attention a little bit further out. If I like that, I can lock it, and I know that no matter what I move, these two are going to stay aligned. Again, you don't need to have one sheetrock sticking out a 1/2 inch and the next sheetrock is a 1/2 inch back. Those lines need to stay straight. I may have given you enough here to kind of get you going without beating this horse to death. So let's just say we got some walls. Okay, so this is supposed to be my foyer. I'm going to pause again and come back and do some window pieces for you. Okay, so I have quite a few walls in here now. We're going to look at adding some other features. Go back to architecture. We have doors and windows. And again, you're going to have some very simple window symbols for now. If you want to get really elaborate right now on this plan and start working towards creating your own, then that's great. But again, we're just doing some basic things. So we're going to do doors and windows. So in this case right now, if I wanted to do doors, select door, and then I got to select which type of door. So there may or may not be one here that you like. So there's a way to go edit type, and you can load your family. So load some of the things that are already here. Let's see what we've got. As they move things around all the time on here, every new version you get something totally different. I have to find the libraries, or that should be it. Nope, that's not showing them either. Family templates. I've got lots of studying to do from the last version of this to this version. Obviously, having a hard time finding the new tools. So again, generic. Today we're going to do generic single flush. If you don't like that, you can duplicate it, create your own, but I'm just going to go with what they've given us. 36 by 84. If you're using really high ceilings, you might do that, but a common front door would be 36 by 80. So I'm going to choose that. And I have like a foyer here. I can zoom in a little bit, and you can kind of see it's dimensioning from that wall, or it'll throw over and dimension from the other wall, but roughly I'm kind of in the middle. Nope, not too close on the other side. So I'm going to hit escape. And then what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to redimension that. So let's change this dimension to say 8. Oh, I'm sorry, I hit the wrong number on it. Or I can go to the top view, which might make it a little quicker too. I can see it here in the top view. Definitely not in the right spot, so I can highlight it. There we go, and I can grab this dot. I can get a hold of the dot long enough for it to do what it's supposed to do. It's moving each number for me, but it's not moving my door side. Okay, so there's the middle. So I want to move the door more over to the center. There you go. So it's still roughly off, so I could calculate what's the difference, but again, we're doing some estimating here, so I might leave it alone at 2'6" from this wall center. Okay, there we go. Ah, there we go. Now I'm in the middle. So each of those dots, again, bear with me because it's been a while, and it takes me a long time to relearn some of these pieces too. So each of these dots represent the different places: wall dimension to center of door to center of wall. So that's great because now you know when you go to dimension, if you dimension center to center to center, it's dead center. So there's the front door. Let's go back to 3D view again. Oh, I'm sorry, it's already in 3D view. Go back to where I can see it from southeast isometric. And there's my front door. Now the only thing I don't know about the door is which side is the actual door on. And it may need to be flipped because it's very likely that the door is on the outside face instead of on the inside face. I can't really tell that, so what I might do is go into fine detail and do some, let's do realistic and just see what we have showing up here. Yeah, see my door's on the outside, so it doesn't really look very good, and neither does the rest of my, again, EIFS was a stucco type, so that's why. Go back to my wireframe again, or in this case I think they had it on hidden wireframe. So that's a door. Now let's try a window. Again, they've got fixed windows, they've got casement windows, casement double hungs. So we'll just do some 30 by 46. I don't really necessarily like that, so I can edit that type. Just so you know, I can duplicate that window. And I'm going to make mine 54-inch windows. I'm going to say OK. So this is how you can create from what's existing, which does make life a little easier. It's not as hard. So everything else kind of stays, but I need to come down here and change the height. So I picked 54 inches, so that's roughly, 54 divided by 12. Oops, sorry. Is 4'6". So we're going to go in here, change that to 4, 6, and then we're going to have to update. So clicking in the box, updated it, added the rough openings, say OK, and now the symbol gets updated to match the height that I wanted. Now, I don't want those mullions, as you can see, because I did not update those, and they look really bad. But I'll put a window here in my dining room on that wall, and they may be updated better. It may just be the shading I'm seeing. I want to have it updated here to fall in my garage. I may have 2 windows on this end of the house. Again, I'm not measuring anything right now. I will come back and do that. I want a kitchen window here, but I'm not sure I want it to be the same height, so I'm going to have to edit that one. Over here, I want a window in my bedroom. And see that dotted line? That's how far off the floor it is, which I'm not sure that's going to be right when I get done. So we're going to look at this from that elevation perspective and check it out. So there's some windows. I'm just going to flip to front real quick so I can see. Yeah, see the first window is low. These windows all seem too high. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab the window. Where would the sill height be? Well, I'm not necessarily worried about the sill height as much as I am the top. So the top of the door is at 80 inches. 80 inches. So 80 divided by 12 is 6 foot 6, 6 foot 8 is what it's supposed to be. 84 divided by 12. Okay. So we got 6 foot 8 is the top of the door. So 6 foot 8 should be the top of the window. So we got 6 foot 8 minus the height of the window. So what was the height of the window again? 4 foot 6. If we subtract that, it's 2 foot 2 inches. So what we really want is for this sill height on all of these windows, and I'm using my control key, and I'm going to go in here and say that the sill height needs to be 2 foot 2 on every one of those windows. Now see how nice and lined up they are? That's one way to fix it. Another way to fix it is to do that modify. I'll pick the windows again and say align. Align them by a certain line. So if that's like the top of the window, then I would want to align it to the top of the door. And I can lock that so those aren't ever going to move up or down. So what I can do now is I can say, well, I need to align those because I don't want those windows higher. I want to align those to the top of my door. Whoops, I went the wrong way. So I'm going to do my align tool again. I want that aligned to the top. Why is it doing that? It's moving my, that's my, oops, now let's pick the line. Align. Now I'm on text. I tell you, it's been way too long since I've done some of this stuff. Okay. Grab that window. I want to use the align tool. I want to align. Well, it's not letting me pick just that one line. Let's do if we can do it. We're going to align that line to that one. Still didn't do it. Undo. There we go. Finally. Okay, pick the one I wanted to align to first, and then what I want to align to it. That way it doesn't move. So we're going to align. We want these two windows definitely to be aligned and lock them down so we can't change the height. Sorry that took too long to show you. So now, essentially, I can go back to level 1, look at this thing from the top. There's my door. See how my door is wrong? I can only see that from the top. Even though I knew looking at it, it looked incredibly wrong, I had to come back to this view to flip it. So I'm going to flip the direction of my door. Now the door's on the inside. If I don't want to open it that direction, I can flip the hinge side as well. So that's when you get into actually manipulating some of the symbols. Same thing would happen if the window's on the wrong side, which I don't think they were drawn in correctly. But they may have been because of I think they were right. So the window symbol is closer to the outside than it is on the inside. So now you just do the same thing throughout the whole plan. I'm just going to go into adding more doors. Interior doors, typically 32 inches on interior doors. So now you see we don't even have a 32 by 80, which is okay. I'll do a 34 by 80. It's fine. I'll go in here and start adding my doors, and you can see I can add those in the top view if I want to. So I'm going to put that door in. It's hinged on the wrong side. Flip it. I'm going to put another door on this side straight across from it. I want a door in this room. Same thing, but hinged on the wrong side. So you just kind of start adding each of those features. And again, just every now and then, go back to 3D view, kind of look at it from that southwest isometric perspective, or use your use your pans and zooms and the orbit feature. So there is an orbit feature here. Since I'm not having a good time getting this thing to work, I've got too many icons that pop up. Use your orbit feature, or again, just keep looking at this thing from different angles. Do a lot of inspecting to see if you like how that's going to actually look. Because the great thing about this is you can also do walkthroughs later. So there are lots more things for us to still do and learn with this, but that should at least get you started on this assignment.